Welcome to the Life Leadership Podcast with myself, Leila Singh, all things coaching, career, and personal branding. This podcast is for ambitious career professionals like you, wanting to create a life of choice and freedom, to be, do, and have more through overcoming limitations, to develop new perspectives and insights, and to redefine your success, be that in work, health, relationships, and so much more. Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Live with Leila. My name is Leila Singh, and I'm an executive career and personal brand coach, and I work with career professionals, typically in the technology industry, who are looking to overcome their limitations so that they can uncover their true potential and create new possibilities, all whilst showing up as the best version of themselves, what I call life leadership. Today, the topic is the impact of language. Be confident and the impact of language. In other words, the words that we use when we speak, when we communicate, whether that is to others or to ourselves. And why is this important? Well, I thought I'd talk about this today simply because it's something I hear a lot of people say about lacking in their confidence. And how can I be or feel more confident? And I often hear people saying, I need to be more positive when it comes to wanting to improve their lives. And there are many steps that we can take to improve our lives tenfold. And today, as part of that, I want to introduce you to the impact of the language that you use and invite you to focus on language that will instill confidence, it will instill certainty, and it will bring you up rather than pull you down. And I'll give you some examples of the language that you want to be using and the language that you want to avoid and to stop using, and to explain a little bit about the impact that has on you. So when we talk about being confident and being more positive, there are so many different facets to that and how we can do that. And so over the next few weeks, I thought that what I would do is I'd break this down for you and share aspects of that and approaches you can take and steps that you can implement immediately or go and work on to develop and to improve so that you can enhance your own confidence and certainty, both in yourself, but also in the way that other people view you, particularly in the workplace. So it's really important that people see that you have confidence in yourself and in your abilities. And as I say, one of the fundamentals of that to enable you to both feel more confident, but also have other people have confidence in you is in terms of the language that you use. And, this could be more than, I tend to keep these lives to roughly about half an hour. This could be an entire day's session or workshop or conversation around this. However, I'm going to give you some snippets today to give you a feel of, okay, what can you start to become aware of? For those of you who checked in with my lives and my podcast before, you'll hear me talk a lot about self-awareness. And it's something that I bring up constantly with my clients, is about all these different areas that enable us to build our self-awareness and to improve in terms of how we show up in the world. And so this topic today about the language that you're using is a great area to consider or to explore, to look at how you're showing up in the world and to build that self-awareness, or that awareness of how you are talking both to yourself and to other people, and actually then asking yourself, well, is this helping me or is this hindering me? And if it is hindering me or is pulling me down, what can I do differently? So I'm going to start by explaining to you, first of all, or suggesting to you some of the phrases that you want to avoid. And what this means is, you might want to make a note of this, is that actually if you start to realize that you're using certain words and phrases often, this is where the awareness comes and think, oh, that's something I do say a lot. How can I say that differently? How is that actually making me feel? And how is it then in turn, by how it makes you feel, how are you then behaving as a consequence of that? What are the actions that you then take or don't take? And how do you go about taking them? So that's where language is so powerful, because it does impact our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, and ultimately then our outcomes, our experiences, and our day-to-day results. So language is fundamental to the life that we create every day, the reality that we experience, and we get to change that simply by becoming aware and building our awareness of the language that we're using and changing that to serve us better, to help us feel more confident and certain, and have other people have that faith in you as well, but also to feel that you're in control and you have that certainty about you. So some of the words and phrases that you want to avoid, what are they? Well, I can't, a common one. I can't do that. And again, it's about, can you really not, or is it you just don't want to? There's two different things. I can't swim, or I'm unable to swim right now, but I'm going to learn. Right? Or I can't swim is like, right, that's it, never going to do it, never going to happen. Or you could say, I'm learning to swim, or I'm improving my swimming, or I'm going to take lessons. Now I'm using an example of swimming. It could be anything. But what you do by saying I can't is just yourself. You're setting your own limitation on yourself. And this is what we often don't realize, that just by virtue of how we speak both to ourselves and to others, we're setting our own limitations. It's not other people that put them on us. Often it's ourselves. Because no matter what anyone else says to us, we choose what we do with that information. Ultimately, it comes down to, what do we actually say to ourselves? So I can't, or I can. I can do that, or I can learn to do that, or I can figure it out, or I can ask for help. And also you want to notice with these words and phrases is the energy behind them. How do they make you feel? Because often the phrases that I'm recommending you avoid are the ones that bring us down. They have a low energy around them, so they make us feel like, oh well, yeah, can't do it. Whereas the I can is much more positive, empowering. It has power and strength behind those words. So think about I can versus I can't or I cannot. Which one will serve you better? Which one will bring you up? The next one I think I'd like you to consider is I am versus I am not. You know, oh, I'm not very creative, or I'm not a good speaker, or I'm not good at maths. Right? You're focusing on what you believe you are not. Instead, what you could do is focus on what you are. So I am. Look for all the good, positive, empowering things that you are, and say to yourself, I am. So what am I? I am strong. I am powerful. I am capable. I'm talented. I'm intelligent. I am fit and healthy. Right? And by telling yourself that, you're bringing yourself up rather than pulling yourself down, which is, by the way, the natural go-to for many people. So other examples are what if. Now, what if can go along with what if it goes wrong? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not good enough? Again, you're focusing on the negative outcome. How do you say that differently? What can you say differently? Well, my answer to that is, what if it works? What if it's great? What if I learn something? What if I improve? What if I create opportunities? Do you see? You can use the what if to bring you down and hold you back, or you can use the what if to propel you forward. And by becoming aware of how you're using the language, you get to understand what you are doing both psychologically and physiologically to yourself, because it all impacts how you feel. So we talked about I can and I cannot, I am and I am not. And now I want, and also what if. The next one I want to touch on is I wish. I wish is like, I wish it would happen. I wish I could be better or smarter or prettier or slimmer or all of those things. I wish, I wish, I wish. What I invite you to do instead is to be more intentional. So being intentional means I am or I will rather than I wish, right? So if I wish I could be fitter and healthier, I will be fitter and healthier. I am fitter and healthier. I'm going to commit to taking the action to be fitter and healthier rather than, oh, well, I wish means it's like, yeah, I wish I was, but I'm not going to do anything about it. So instead, what could you say differently to actually spur you forward to take action? I'm going to become, I will be, rather than, oh, I wish. But also with that, there's also creating commitments of what you are going to do. And here we talk about, often you'll say, people say, I'll try. So I'll try to go to the gym. I'll try and go for that walk. I'll try and eat healthier. Or you could say, I will eat healthier. I will go to the gym. I will book in that exercise class. That's the difference. And then you're creating commitment to yourself that I will do X. And again, it's more positive, empowering, makes you feel like you're in control of your life and your destiny. And these may sound like really small nuances, but actually they're incredibly powerful in terms of the impact they have on you and also people around you. So this is what I want to bring your awareness into this language. What else could it be? It's too late. Often we say, well, it's too late. I'm too old now. I can't be doing that. Or, I'm at this age and therefore it's too late to change career, or it's too late to try something new. It's too late to get fit and healthy. It's never, ever too late. We always see inspirational stories of people who have become incredibly successful in their business, maybe in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, and they've been working at it for years. And then finally they make their mark, they hit that success button. It could be the same in your career. It could be in your health and fitness. I've seen stories of people who, in their 90s, are like at their fittest ever. So it is possible. Anything is possible. So instead, change your language or your words to it's never too late. The next one that I hear a lot of is when you ask someone, for example, what do you want? Whether that's in life, in your career, in your relationship, in your health, or so what do you want, or how are you? Sorry, that was the other example, is asking how are you, right? And often people who tend to come from more of a negative place or a negative outlook will respond with what they don't want. So you say to someone, what do you want in a relationship? I say, well, I don't want to be with someone who's like this, and this. Or what do you want in your life? Well, I don't want to be I don't want to experience this. I don't want that. Or quite simply, what is it, like if you're setting goals, what is it that you want to accomplish in the next 12 months? Well, I don't want to be doing this, and this. Again, listen to the language that you're using. My question is, what do you want? Because when you're talking about what you don't want, you're still focusing on all the negative things, the things that you don't want. It's important to focus on the things that you do want, because energetically that will make you feel better. It will have you more inspired to actually take action to get what you do want. And by virtue of knowing what you don't want, well, then you must know what you do want, or have some idea. You might need to get a bit more clarity around it, but there's nothing wrong with knowing what you don't want, but actually, what is it you're striving towards? not away from. Often we talk about, well, we want to move away from, let's say, a toxic relationship, or guys or girls who can't be trusted, who are possessive, or who whatever. Okay, what is it you do want? You want a healthy, fulfilling relationship filled with love and trust and respect. And it's the polar opposite. So get clear on what it is you do want and strive towards that, rather than striving to be getting away from something that you don't want. And also energetically, when we talk about sort of esoteric energy, what we put out there when it comes to manifesting what we want, you know, the universe cannot distinguish between a positive and a negative. So when we set intentions, when we create goals, visions, commitments of what we do want, we have to be mindful of how we communicate that, whether to ourselves or out into the world, because the universe will only recognize what it is, the words that you're using. They won't understand the part where you say, I don't want that. So if you say, I don't want a toxic relationship, all they're going to hear is toxic relationship. If you say, I don't want to be in debt, all they hear is debt. So all they're hearing is debt. Oh, she wants more debt, or he wants more debt. Guess what? You're going to manifest more of the same. This might sound really woo-woo to some of you, but actually it's very, very powerful. Trust me. So really tune into how you're speaking to yourselves as well as to others. What is it you do want, not what you don't want? So focus on that. What else can I share? Failings and wins, learnings, successes, accomplishments. Okay. So often we're very quick to define something as a failure. Why? Because it didn't work out. It wasn't what we wanted. We didn't come top of the class or top of the team or whatever it might be. And we deem that to be failure. The question is it truly failure? And it only becomes failure if that is what you want it to be seen as. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. If you give that meaning to it, then you are creating that reality. The truth of it is, if you try something that doesn't work out or doesn't go as planned, if it didn't go well, then what are the learnings that you've taken from that? What can you do differently next time? Think of all the really, really successful people. Look at how many times they have tried and in common language failed. But they've kept going and they've kept going because they've learned, they've taken the lessons and they've gone and done things differently or worked harder at it or improved on something. So we can all do that. By labeling something as failure, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that again because I failed. That doesn't help you. That hinders you. That holds you back. That is what you're setting your own limitations on yourself. So again, distinguish between is something really failure or is it just a learning? You get to choose, right? And I would invite you to focus on the wins, the successes, the accomplishments. Remember to really appreciate them, to integrate them, to talk about them. And at the same time, when things aren't working out, that's okay. That didn't go as planned, but the next time, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'll do differently. And I think I mentioned already that the next one I want to invite you to consider is where you say, I will try, versus I will commit to, I am going to do this. I will do this. It has more power behind it. It has more likelihood of you committing to follow through. I try is, yeah, maybe, possibly, never. And you don't get around to it. And you really want to slow down to that and check in again with yourself. How are you speaking to yourself? So to summarize, some of the words and phrases that you want to move away from are things like I can't, I am not, I wish, it's too late, I don't like, but what if, from a negative perspective, failure, and I'll try. What you do want to be saying instead is I can, I am, what if, from a positive standpoint, like what if it works? What if it goes well? What if I succeed? I will, as a commitment to yourself. It's never too late. I love or I like something as opposed to I don't like. I have accomplished, or my wins are, as opposed to, oh, this didn't work, I failed again. And I commit to. These are just that, there's no infinite list here. It's whatever it is. I'm just showing you some ideas of common phrases that we use often when we're talking to ourselves, when we're talking to others about ourselves. And what that does is, if you're going with the kind of the negative language, the examples that I've shared, you are depositioning yourself, you're putting yourself down, you're bringing yourself down. And by the way, the impact of that is both in how you feel about yourself, but also as a consequence, it will directly influence how you behave and the actions that you take, which in turn directly impacts your life, your outcomes, the day-to-day experiences that you have, because you're coming from that place of self-doubt, of lacking that certainty in yourself, of maybe not trusting yourself. So these are just little examples that you can start to take on board and to integrate into your day-to-day language. Again, I reiterate, both talking to yourself and talking to others, that will bring you up, that will have you create more and feel more certainty in yourself. And it will directly impact the way that you show up. And this is both in your workplace or personally in your day-to-day life. And when we talk ourselves down, when we use that negative language, the I'm not good enough, or I wish I was better or smarter, or it's too late now for me to change, or I don't like, or I don't want to have this and this in my career or in my relationship or in my health, you're focusing on all these negative things, or the things that you don't want, or the fact that you can't, and you're limiting yourself. And the impact this has is not only on your day-to-day experience, it impacts your psychology, your mindset about how you view the world, how you view yourself. And remember, this is all self-limiting. This isn't about blaming anybody else. This is about where you get to take responsibility for how you show up in the world. And a part of that, a facet of that, is the language that you use. The other thing that it impacts not only is your psychology, but also your physiology, because it will physically bring you down and have you feeling maybe like you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not deserving. And then that will influence what you do or don't do. And again, you're limiting yourself. It also impacts energy, as I said, both your physical energy and esoteric energy, in terms of the energy around you, how you show up. You're somebody who people want to gravitate to, who want to be around you, want to be your friend, or who want to hire you or have you in their teams, versus someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm not good enough, and constantly putting yourself down, and then putting doubt in other people's minds about you and your abilities as well, because that will have a big impact on your potential and on the opportunities that come your way. So when we talk about confidence and when we talk about positivity, as I said earlier, it's broken down into so many different facets. And one part of that is language, and the language that you use. So my invitation to you today is to really start to slow down to the language that you use. Notice what you notice. Notice how you talk to yourself. Notice what you say to yourself when an opportunity comes up. Do you put yourself down, or say, oh, that'll never happen, or it'll never work out for me, or I'll never get that? Or do you look at it and tell yourself, yeah, I'm deserving of that, and I'm going to put 100% in to make that work for me, or make that happen. I can do that. I am good enough. What is it that the first kind of words and thoughts that come into your mind? And this is what I mean when I'm bringing it back to self-awareness. Something I talk about all the time with my clients is building, cultivating your self-awareness. Slowing down to this. So maybe day to day, slow down, reflect on the conversations you've had. What went well, what didn't go well? Where do you think, oh, that could have gone better? It's like, okay, what was I saying? How did I say it? How could I have said it differently? What will I do differently next time? Those are the questions to be asking yourself so that you can improve on your self-awareness, but also how you're showing up and how you're communicating. So that's my invitation for today, is to slow down to the impact of the language that you're using day to day when you talk about yourself, your abilities, both when you talk to yourself and to others. And ask yourself, is this bringing me down and holding me back, or is it propelling me forward and making me feel that I have that ability, that certainty, that confidence to be successful, whatever success means for you? Thank you for joining live today. And until next time, remember to elevate your performance, to maximize your potential, and to create new possibilities by showing up as the best version of you. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already done so. And if you enjoyed and gained value from today's episode, then do please leave a review telling us your key learnings and what you enjoyed the most. And do please share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can spread the word on life leadership, creating a life of choice, freedom, and new possibilities. Connect with me directly on LinkedIn, and if you would like to learn more about how we can work together, either DM me on LinkedIn or email.